Hey, welcome to CSM Night of Worship. I'm super excited that you all have decided to come out and hang out with us tonight. And even those of you who may be watching this after the night, for those of you who might be watching online on our YouTube channel, listen, I'm glad that you've decided to tune in. And listen, tonight, we're tackling something amazing. And before I go any further, listen, my name is Mark. If we haven't had the chance to meet, student pastor here. And listen, we try to do these night of worships at least once a quarter. But tonight, I really want to encourage the student body. I really want to encourage you all. I know for many of you, this is actually the last week of school. And, I know with the end of the school year, what it feels like. And so tonight, we want to tackle this idea of simply not giving up. All right, not giving up. That's what I really want to tackle tonight. Now, if I'm honest, right, I just want to just say from the outset, from the start, that you all, like your generation, that you are probably the most, if not like the most, one of the most, but if not the most resilient generations. That all of you are a part of a generation that I see as so resilient, so much grit. And I know, here's the thing, there are a lot of you who don't really believe that. In fact, you've heard a ton of other things. You've heard a ton of other narratives that maybe have suggested that you all don't have the same grit as like the baby boomers or even the millennials, right? Like Generation Z is lazy, or you guys just kind of want everything handed to you. You guys got so many participation trophies that you really don't know what it means to compete. And yet, I want to encourage you all to know that I really do. I actually think that you all are probably the most resilient generation. And here's the thing, I don't make these statements lightly. If you don't know, like I'm actually a PhD. Like I've gone to school to get a degree that says I know how to research things, right? I really know how to research things. So when I make these statements, it's rooted in some kind of fact. It's rooted in some kind of, database, scientific, some research. That's what's behind this. And so when I say this, when I make some statements like this, it means that it actually has weight. Like it actually means something. And so when I think about this, when I think about this generation, I actually believe that our world we're in good hands. And when I say this, I discovered this from some research that I did. And I think that this is really good research. In fact, for those of you who may go on and get a PhD or go get a doctorate degree, you all may be able to do the fascinating type of research that I've done as well. And so if that's you, here's the thing. I learned that you all are the most resilient generation because I did research on this amazing platform called TikTok. Yeah, I know, TikTok. No, I know. You're probably like, huh, what? What do you mean? See, because here's the thing. TikTok is about these videos that people have to make. But listen, I know that it does not take one take to get these videos right. Because you are trying to get it right. In fact, take a look at this video as we watch some of those amazing TikTokers do their thing.
I think I'm losing my mind, trying to stay inside the lines. It's like you're running in place.
Paradise life relaxing, black, Latino, and Anglo-Saxon.
She gon' go on the sound of my waist off, while she gripping on my peso.
Right? I know this is funny, right? It's hilarious. You're like, Mark, are you serious? Is this how you do research? But no, listen, seriously, like as funny as those videos are, I still want you to understand that it still requires an element of grit. It still requires, an element of determination and just the spirit of not giving up. Right? I mean, because there are bloopers. I mean, there are tons of bloopers. In fact, we could go on for hours. I spent hours. I spent almost 6 hours just watching these videos, and they were hilarious. And yet people are falling, and people are making mistakes, and people are messing up. And yet, the ones who are kind of the top TikTokers, guess what? They perfected it. But I promise you, they have countless footage of them messing up. But the reason why they've been able to ascend to a level where, their TikTok is even monetized at this point is because they did not give up. It's because they expressed that they actually had some grit and some determination. And so, that's what I want to talk about today. And there's actually a really, really good a story in the Bible that I really just want to share with you all today. I like stories. And this is one of my favorite stories in the Bible about a guy by the name of Joseph. Now I'm not talking about Joseph like the dad of Jesus, Joseph. No, this Joseph is like old school Joseph. He's like Joseph back in the Old Testament. I'm talking about he's so old, he's in the book of Genesis, right? That's like the beginning of the Bible, right? And so this guy Joseph is in the beginning of the Bible, and Joseph has a bunch of siblings, all right? And Joseph has a bunch of siblings, and he's the youngest of them all. And Joseph is the youngest sibling, and Joseph would have dreams. We've all had dreams, right? And some of you, you're having dreams. You're having dreams now. And you probably are dreaming while you're sitting right here, or maybe even while you're watching it, right? Here's the thing. We all have dreams. But see, here's what made Joseph's dreams different. It's because he didn't just dream his dreams, but he could actually interpret the meaning of his dreams. And so because he was able to interpret the meaning of his dreams, he wasn't just dreaming things, but he was able to say what they actually meant in real time and or what they meant for future events. And so the story kind of goes that one day, this guy Joseph, he has a dream, and the dream is about his brothers, and then eventually he has another dream about his brothers and even his parents, right? And so he starts to dream dreams about his family. And so I want to share that story with you all tonight because I believe that we can all gain something from the story of Joseph because I feel like many of us will encounter some level of what Joseph encountered throughout the duration of his life. But let's see what this story is about, right? So I want to read to you from the book of Genesis. Again, Genesis is kind of the book of the beginnings, and so we get a lot of beginning stories here. Stories about creation and stories about a whole lot of stuff. The Adam and Eve stories, and so this is one of the stories that's in there, and it's actually in the 37th chapter of Genesis. And I want to read just a few verses from that as we begin our study today. So this is what it says. It says Joseph had a dream. And when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. Right? They hated him. And it says that he said to them, listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose up and stood upright, while your sheaves, talking about his brothers, while your sheaves, they gathered around mine and bowed down to it. And his brothers said to him, do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Now, let's just stop and pause there just for a moment, right? Because how would you feel if your brother or your sister or your sibling had a dream and essentially the dream was saying that, one day I'm going to rule over you. One day you're going to bow down and call me king. I know some of you are probably dreaming of that day, right? You wish that you could just get your brother, your sister, your older brother, your older sister, be I want you to bow down to me and, kind of worship me, right? Maybe you have that thought. If not, that's good. But listen, can you imagine what his brothers are thinking, right? It said that they hated him all because of a dream. And here's the thing, at the time, the brothers aren't necessarily aware of whether or not the dream is going to come true or not. They're not even aware that Joseph has a gift of interpreting the dream. All they know is that Joseph has a dream, and in his dream, they don't look too good. They are not the heroes in Joseph's dream. So now, Joseph has another dream. And so as we read on, it says that, and then there's another dream. He had another dream and he told it to his brothers. He said, listen, he said, I had another dream. And this time, the sun and moon and even and 11 stars were bowing down to me. And then he told his father as well as his brothers, and his father rebuked him, said what is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you? And can you imagine, you talking to your parents, or you talking to your mom, or talking to your parents about a dream that you had, and you're essentially saying, not only are my siblings, but could you imagine a world where you could get your parents to bow down to you? Your parents have to listen to you. You get to tell your parents what to eat for dinner. You get to tell them if they could go hang out with their friends. You get to tell them whether or not, they could go to work or they have to stay home. You could tell your parents whether or not they are actually punished. Could you imagine that, right? And so Joseph has this dream, and his parents are like, what? What's wrong with you? Why would you ever be having this kind of dream? And not only is his parents, it says his parents rebuked him. It's like his parents punished him. I mean, could you imagine getting punished for having a dream? You woke up, you told your parents a dream, and then all of a sudden you were grounded for a week. Could you imagine that? That could be terrible. And yet, I mean, this is kind of what's happening to Joseph. And again, I'm not even sure that they're aware of what Joseph's abilities are. But just because his dream indicated something about them, they rebuked him. They hated him. Last verse I want to read to you. It says this: his brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. And that's important. See, because here's the thing. After Joseph has these dreams, his brothers, they dislike him so much, all because he has a dream. Now, let me stop and parenthetically suggest to all of you that if you think about the metaphor of having a dream, all of you have had a dream of something, right? I mean, even as a kid, I remember just having a dream to being able to drive a red Porsche. I don't know why red, right? But I just wanted a red Porsche. That was the dream that I had when I was 8, 9, and 10 years old. Give me a red Porsche, right? I mean, that's just what I wanted. That was a dream. Now, obviously, as you get older, your dreams, they begin to change, right? They begin to morph. They begin to grow. They begin to mature, right? The things that you want and the things that you desire, they began to change. Each and every one of you, you all have dreams. And you all have dreams that you're working toward, whether that's in school, or whether that's in sports, or whether that's in some hobby, right? Or maybe that you just have a dream of being a better person. But all of those dreams, they're valid. And so the same way that we're talking about dreams that Joseph had, but all of us have dreams. And what happens to Joseph as a result of his dreams, his brothers, they disliked him. They hated on him. I mean, they also felt like their parents kind of made him the favorite. They kind of made Joseph the favorite, he got special privileges. And so what they did was that one day they saw Joseph coming out. They saw him walking. They were out in the field. They saw Joseph coming from afar off. And they decided to dig a ditch for Joseph. They dug a ditch and they covered it up so he didn't know that it was actually a hole there, and he was just walking towards where he saw his brothers, what they were doing, and they were doing some work. And he's walking and he falls in the ditch. And the brothers, they leave him there to die. When the brothers go back to the house and they ask the mom, have you seen Joe? We're we don't know. We don't know what happened to him. We think that some lions ate him. We think that some tigers may have got him. Or we don't know what happened to him. But your son, he's dead. He's no longer there. The only thing that we have of him is this coat. It's this expensive coat that the dad gave to him as this gift. And they were just jealous of Joseph, and they set him up to die. But that's not how Joseph's story ends. See, because Joseph ultimately gets sold into slavery because while he's in the ditch, there's a man that comes by that decides to purchase Joseph's life. He saves him, he rescues him, but he rescues him only for him to become his slave and work in his house. Joseph goes and he works in a man's house and he's doing great work and he's just appreciative to still have his life. And so he works in his house and he's doing well, and the guy has a wife and he's got family, he's got kids, and Joseph is doing the best that he can around the house. And then all of a sudden, the man who saved his life, he's always out. He's like always out on business. And when he leaves the house, his wife and his kids are there. And one day, you know, the wife is like coming on to Joseph. Like she's trying to, like she like slides in Joseph's DMs, right? She's like, Joseph, I'm trying to see what's up. And Joseph's like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, you got a husband? Like your husband he's been good to me. Like, he's a good boss. Like, I don't want to mess that up. Like, no, I don't want any problems here. Right? I mean, it's the equivalent of like if you've got a friend and you know your friend has a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and then all of a sudden like that boyfriend or girlfriend is trying to like talk to you at like the party or at the prom or when you see them at the movies or maybe when you're getting some ice cream or something, right? And you're like, wait, I thought you were with so-and-so, right? You know, honestly, I actually have a more personal story about that. In fact, I actually met my wife, Whitney, because my girlfriend at the time got invited to my wife's, Whitney's, graduation party. Yeah, I know. So she got invited, and my girlfriend at the time was like, I'll just go. Can you go with me? I don't want to go alone. I don't really know a bunch of her friends, so could you go with me? So I'm like, okay. So she drags me along to this graduation party, and when I get there, I'm just kind of chilling. I'm hanging out. And then this like the person who's the graduation for, she comes out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this girl is gorgeous. I'm like, I'm so glad I came to this party. I'm so glad she dragged me to this party. But I didn't say anything to her. I mean, I had a girlfriend at the time. But as soon as me and the girl broke up, oh, it was on. I mean, it was popping like popcorn. Check this out. Like, as soon as we broke up, you know what I did? Oh, yeah, I hit her up. I slid in her DMs. I'm like, hey, babe, you know, I'm so-and-so. I think we went to high school together. And you know what the first thing she told me? She said, aren't you so-and-so's boyfriend? I'm like, wait, that's over. Like, that's old news. And she's like, yeah, whatever. I don't really want to do that because, you know, she's actually a good girl, right? So she's like, nah, I don't want to be in that type of thing. And so she pushed me off. Now, I didn't get mad, but see, the lady in the story, in Joseph's story, the wife got mad. She got mad, and when the husband came back from vacation, guess what? She accused him of trying to push up on her. That's right. She changed the story. She flipped the script. And the whole time, Joseph was like, what are you talking about? This is messed up, right? Like, this is jacked up. And the man believes his wife, and they send Joseph to prison. So all because he has a dream, and his brothers don't like the dream, and they become jealous of him. And they get him sold into slavery. And it's wild. But see, these are some of the things that we can begin to learn from this story. So here's the first takeaway from this story that we can capture right here, right in the middle, right where Joseph has already been sold into slavery, and now he's getting ready to go into prison. And here's the first takeaway. The first takeaway is this: the people who are the closest to you are the ones who can hurt you the most. The people who are the closest to you, these were his siblings, these were his brothers. They sold him into slavery. They left him for dead. They didn't even sell him. They didn't even make any money. They left him in the ditch. But see, they knew him. He was vulnerable. He had an opportunity. They knew his dreams. They knew where he was fragile. They understood how he was going to be mishandled. And so when we look at this, there's going to be people that you call friends, people who might be your siblings. You will experience hurt. And it's going to be bad. And it's going to be painful. And some of you have already experienced that. The people who you thought were closest to you were the ones that hurt you the most. I mean, for some of you, it may have been an uncle. It may have been a family member who inappropriately touched you. For some of you, it may have been a parent who you just lost respect for and lost trust for. But see, here's what we could take away from this is that when you know that people that are the closest to you have the ability to hurt you, that still doesn't give you a reason to quit. And that's what's so beautiful about this story. See, because Joseph, he gets thrown into prison. He gets left for dead by his brothers. He gets falsely accused, convicted, placed into prison. Didn't do anything wrong. But he didn't stop there. See, even while he was in prison, he came across some gentlemen who started having some dreams. And then Joseph started interpreting the dreams for the guys who were in the prison. Now, mind you, he's in prison. He's somewhat in isolation. He's isolated from the outside world. But now he has to start to navigate and maneuver a different framework. And so there's like a baker, and there's another guy who's like a chef, like they're all in there. And so they're having dreams, and he's interpreting the dreams. And so one day, after he's interpreted their dreams, like those guys get freed. They get called by like the king of the country to come and be like the baker. One of the guys got called to be like the baker, like the head chef of the palace. And so, his community shifts. Well, here's what happens. Like the king starts to have these dreams. And while he's having these dreams, like he can't figure out what these dreams mean. In fact, he's dreaming these dreams and he can't sleep at night. He can't effectively, lead the country right. Up until he gets to a point where he starts asking his staff, like, can anybody help me understand this dream? And then the baker remembers Joseph, who's still in prison. He says, well, I know a guy, but he's locked up. But he could interpret your dream. And see, what happens there is, it's the second takeaway that I want you to walk away with today. And it's this. It's that, like, isolation gives you time to think about how to build better relationships. See, because while he was in there, it was the dreams that got him in the situation that he was in. His dreams made his brothers jealous. His dreams made his parents insecure. His dreams put him in a predicament to be left for dead and sold into slavery. But here's the thing. When he was in isolation, he started using his dreams to help build better relationships where he was. It was in the isolation of it all. It was after the pain, after the hurt, after the trauma. Right? All of a sudden, he starts using the thing that actually got him against it. Now, for you, it may have been you were loyal to the friend. You trusted the friend. You loved them. You actually shared your resources. You sacrificed for the people who were close to you, and you were hurt. But guess what? You can now use your love and your capacity to show compassion and empathy toward others. You can begin to build better relationships using the same qualities. You can trust again. You can love again. You can hope again. You just don't give up. You don't have to quit. And so the king of the palace, he calls Joseph to come out of jail. He gives him a get out of jail free card. His gift of interpreting dreams, his gift to the world began to make room for him. And when he got to the palace, he was able to interpret the king's dream to the point where the king then appointed Joseph to be the right hand of the king and became one of the most powerful, the second most powerful person in the country. And it was amazing. See, because he was able to interpret the dream of the king, and then he started to be elevated. He went from being somebody who was left for dead to the second highest ranking officer in the country, because he didn't allow a speed bump to become a stop sign. See, that's the third takeaway that you should take today. Don't treat speed bumps like stop signs. See, because speed bumps are designed to maybe slow you down, but they are not designed to make you stop. That when you experience that hurt, when you experience that pain, when you experience that agony, when you experience the hurt from the loved one or the person that was close or that friend that betrayed you, that didn't have your trust or your best interests at heart anymore, guess what? It's okay, because that was intended to be a speed bump, but that was never intended to stop you. And here is the key. The key is this, that see, Joseph, he got that rank right in the palace. And the dream that he interpreted for the king was simply this, that there will be a famine in the land. And so the king listened to the interpretation of Joseph's dream, and he began to store up stuff, store up livestock and store up food and store up grain and store up resources, so that once the famine hit, he was able to be equipped for what was to come. But what Joseph didn't know, that all these years later, 30 years later, Joseph is a middle-aged man. He's now reached the rank of second in command in this country. But he didn't know that his mom and his dad and his siblings, they would be ones that would be starving. And that family, his original family, his brothers that sold him into slavery, his brothers that really, they left him for dead rather, but he got sold into slavery as a result, they had to come into the palace. They had to come to the food pantry that they had set up at the palace for people to come, and they had to bow down and ask for a handout for food. Here's the thing. That was a dream that got Joseph in trouble to begin with. But see, his parents and his brothers had an opportunity to be able to celebrate that. But because they didn't, they missed the beauty of the gift that was already in Joseph. Here's the thing. People will miss the gift that's in you. But you can never devalue your gift just because people don't appreciate it. Because here's the thing, you're at the end of the school year, and I know for many of you, you want to throw in the towel, you're done with it. You don't even care about finals. Some of you may need to spend some extra time studying, but I want to encourage you that you shouldn't give up. Make the end of the school year the best part of your school year. Make the summer maybe the best summer you've ever had. Right? Take this break and maybe lean into it, because here's the thing, you've got gifts, you've got dreams. You've got things inside of you that regardless of what you've experienced, those speed bumps were never meant to be a stop sign. God bless you. I want to pray for you. Let's pray. God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time of sharing. We thank you for reminding us to not give up. We thank you for this space to be able to experience your goodness, your love, and to be reminded that even though those people who may have been closest to us, that we may have felt that hurt, or we may have felt like we've been left alone or left in isolation, or we've been betrayed. But God, today you've reminded us that those things are not designed to stop us. They're merely speed bumps to help us get to where we ultimately want to be. So God, I pray that you bless every student that's under the sound of my voice, that they would lean into you, that they would not quit, that they will not give up, that they will not allow the pain or the hurt or the trauma that they've experienced to be the determining factor for their destiny. God, you've got so much more for them. And for that, we love you and we thank you and we magnify your name. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. We said together, amen.